Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CRL B stream, the first week of its kind here on the College Carball channel. I am Vodable, and joining me for Thursday's broadcast is the one and only Hunted. How are you feeling about the way that CRL has been going this fall season?
Man, I have loved every single second of CRL up to this point.
So good.
I've spent the last week nothing but CRL, just looking into the teams, watching the matches. And I'm super excited that I get to be a part of it.
It's going to be a great time. We have pretty much 5 days of CRL back-to-back, 3 on the mainstream, 2 here on the College Carball channel, and it's just going to be a great time. We have 4 matches to go over today and tomorrow, but we'll talk about the first real matchup that we have before we get into it. It's University of Michigan versus UCF. Any thoughts about these two teams just right off the bat, just comparing them?
Yeah, well, Michigan comes into this off a hot start on the A stream. They took down RIT and Rutgers. I believe a total combined score of 6-1. So, they've dominated their competition thus far. They're going to run into a UCF team who, if you've watched the CRL in the past, they've certainly done well. They look a little bit weaker this season. They already dropped their first game against Miami, Ohio, but that doesn't mean that they can't come back strong. I think this will be a fun game, but I've got to lean towards the side of Michigan.
Yeah, we did have an off-stream match as well. GVSU actually 3-0'd UCF as well, so it's not looking too good for them currently. UCF is kind of at the bottom of the standings, but it is only the first week of play. There are so many matches going on. It is a 16-team round robin, so there is just so much Rocket League to be played for all of these teams to whittle down to the top 8 that we'll be seeing. But we're going to be seeing these teams join their sides of the match, get right underway with this one. UCF on blue, Michigan in orange. It's going to be a great one. I'm quite excited to see what these two teams can really showcase us, especially after what we've seen from both of them on the mainstream.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the rosters yet for these teams, as you said, Bod, in blue, UCF, Bits, Dirty Eagle, and Snipes. Then for Michigan in orange, Buddha, Clavin, and Shawnee Boy. A little bit of a different look for UCF. Snipes, the sub for them last season. I think Bits is the only returning member to the UCF team from the previous season of CRL.
That's really important to note as well. If only one member is returning, the team might have looked good last season, but this season it's going to be a whole different story with a completely different roster other than that one member. So that's going to be something to look out for UCF. And we'll see if Michigan, Shawnee Boy, Buddha, Clavin, a lot of people know these names, especially Clavin. He was popping off on the mainstream, but no, we almost saw Snipes pop off right there to put one through.
Yeah, great dunk, just hit the crossbar. Didn't quite find its way in, but Snipes gets another opportunity, hits the crossbar that time. They will eventually find the clear. A couple of crossbars from UCF. They're not done yet as they're still looking for that first goal. Snipes up for it again. That one will fall. Central Florida on the board early, 1-0.
1, 2, and then eventually third times is the charm that was needed for Snipes to put one through. Eventually off that follow-up, a great setup from his teammate, and he was able to put it into the back of the net. You need to see a little stronger hold on defense for Michigan if they want to get this game back under control.
Yeah, it was a good rotation to start the game off for Central Florida, utilizing the boost that they were stealing from the orange players, and just were banging it off the crossbar mostly.
Yeah. 3 times almost.
They did find the back of the net, so we play 1-0. About a minute and a half has gone by, and again, Michigan, they come into this game pretty hot, but it looks like they're just starting to warm up now against this UCF team.
It's great to see that even after going down by that first goal, they get right back into it. We see the demo come out from Clavin onto Dirty Eagle, trying to open up some space towards that goal line, but not going to be enough for this Michigan team to put really solid pressure on the net. Clavin, after another demo from Shawnee Boy, going for a great setup off the wall, but again, the follow-ups have been kind of lacking so far for this Michigan roster.
Yeah, only one shot on the board to the 5 of UCF. at the moment as we near halftime in game number 1. This is a best of 5, of course, as all the matches are here in league play. There's Buddha, goes hard off the back wall, down towards Clavin, just off the post. Shawnee Boy will follow up for the rebound, but Dirty Eagles plays it away. So UCF get a little bit of post luck going in their favor now, and it remains 1-0.
Post tending to be the best goaltender so far in this game specifically. Mainly the crossbar for Michigan, but that wasn't enough to stop Snipes from putting that third attempt in. There's one from Bits, though. The net is wide open. The setup from Snipes for the finish. Buddha and Clavin on the double commit, and that completely opened it up for the easy rotation to put it through.
It's not often that the director cam captures that double commit so perfectly.
It was beautiful.
Like it did right there. It was a severe miscommunication by the Michigan defenders who opened the net for Bits. That was an easy redirect for him, so it's 2-0 for UCF. We'll see how Michigan responds. They've only got 2 minutes to try to score 2. Snipes might give them one for free. It's still out in front.
Oh,
but
no!
Can't get it. That was a beautiful fake from Snipes. After he puts the ball down in front, he cleans it up himself. He will have to play this one again. So great play from UCF to keep it 2-0. Time is starting to tick away for Michigan.
That would have been a perfect opportunity to bring things back within 1 for Michigan, but unfortunately they weren't able to capitalize on it. No connection there from Buddha. Instead, it's back in their own half of the field. Dirty Eagle, Snipes, and Bits, they are working as a cohesive unit so far on offense, making sure there is not too many opportunities for Michigan to get out of their own end.
It's an important factor. Certainly in this game, Michigan has not been very good on the breakout. Not the car, but the sports term, breaking out of the zone. They've found clears similar to that from Buddha, but they don't have much follow-up. You see the ball ending up back in the Michigan zone. They're not challenging early enough in mid, and you can see UCF controlling the play by winning these mid challenges quite early. They don't have to worry about playing defense when the ball's in the Michigan half.
Well, especially when UCF, even if they aren't as accurate as they could be, we've only seen 1 goal for the 5 shots that Snipes has had. But there is a chance here for Michigan. There's the follow through. Shawnee Boy, they just had to muscle their way past 2 defenders to put this one in. 34 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, as soon as I say they're making good challenges, Dirty Eagle doesn't get up to that one. That is an easy goal for Shawnee Boy, camping out in front. It was 1-goal game, 34 seconds left. This is an important game 1. If Central Florida can steal this one away from Michigan, could lead them to good things in the series. And again, UCF winless on the season. Thus far, Michigan undefeated. Snipes throws that into the back of the goal, and that just might seal it for game 1.
This might be the way to work towards giving Michigan their first loss and UCF the first win. Snipes, he has just been the powerhouse on offense this entire game. All the shots in the world, and he's had 7 to his name now, more than all 3 members of Michigan combined. He's been the main deciding factor as far as the 3 goals we've seen so far for this team.
Again, Snipes was the sub for this roster last season, so he's not coming in as an entirely new face to the UCF roster. You can certainly see he's starting to click now early on in the season. And like you said, a ton of shots on the board for Snipes. It's kind of the difference maker for the Knights, but really it felt like Michigan, they just were not playing the game that we expected them to play. They're quite a fast team when they get going. It really didn't look like it. It looked like UCF had the advantage in speed the whole way through.
And that's what's so important when it comes to these best of 5 series, is to start out as quickly as possible, especially when you are down by 2. A lot of people, even your opponents, are going to be doubting you. A new roster with only 1 player returning. Michigan, they have these players who've been around the block for a while. Clavin, Shawnee Boy, and Buddha. A lot of people know them quite well. Buddha, CRL Season 2 contender, you can see there. But they just didn't really have the offensive pressure that you would like to see from this Michigan roster that we have seen in the other 2 series that they did win. So maybe in this next game, after that loss that they had in the first one, they'll be able to bring things back and maybe not underestimate UCF as much.
Yeah, and again, it could fully be that UCF is finally coming around to playing the Rocket League we would expect from them. Again, it's very, very early in the season. There are still
True.
a ton of games to play.
So
for
many
both
games.
teams. So, we'll see how Michigan responds in game number 2. Of course, this is a best of 5. So Michigan certainly plenty of time to try to come back in this one. Game number 2, 5 minutes on the clock, just getting underway now. Shawnee Boy restarting his game over the break, and he's going to have to watch this one go into the back of his goal. 6 seconds in, Knights are back on top.
Might have restarted his game and should have restarted that rotation as soon as it happened. He tried to course correct, but it was much too late at that point. Nobody was back home. Instead, they were able to get that one 6 seconds into this game. Again, Snipes being on offense, but Clavin, he answers right back.
Sure, why don't we just score 2 goals in the first 10 seconds? A couple of kickoff goals, one for each team. We're pretty much back to where we started. But that's just a good play from Clavin. Making sure that he cheats up enough on that kickoff to get to the ball before the enemy defender. That's an easy roll into the back of the goal. But game number 2 just now underway. VOD, nobody's been able to sort out their rotations as those kickoff goals have disrupted things. But I am interested to see.
Another chance for Snipes there too. Like, he had a shot opportunity, but wasn't really able to do too much on the offensive end because none of his teammates were there backing him up. And I feel like that's going to be the difference maker for this UCF roster. If not just Snipes can be on offense, if all of them can be there supporting, because that rotation was crucial in the first game.
Yeah, that was going to be, my point to Michigan, as that's a pass just ahead of Shawnee Boy from Clavin. That their rotation did not look very crisp, as you would expect the Michigan rotation to look. In game 1, we'll see if they can fix that up. They certainly seem to be trying to pressure on offense as much as possible. That double commit that cost them, I believe it was the second goal against in game 1. I think that was the turning point, and they just unable to come back.
And that might be the difference maker here, is if UCF can get on the board and just continue the pressure we saw last time. But we're seeing a lot more out of Michigan on offense now. And as soon as I say that, Snipes just takes it right back. That pop-up's not really going to work out in anyone's favor, so that might buy some time for Michigan to send it up right back from whence it came and give a chance for either Clavin or Shawnee Boy. But there's another double commit that we've seen on offense, and that's just going to lead to another goal, this time for Bits.
Yeah, Bits kind of gets lucky a little bit here. He had a defender in his face in Clavin, but Clavin doesn't get a touch on it. Completely beats Buddha with the long clear. So it is 2-1 now, and we talked about the double commit being the turning point of last game, but that goal, kind of be the straw that breaks the camel's back of Michigan in game 2. We're going to have to find out. Doesn't look like they want to concede yet, though. They are pressuring on offense.
This might be a chance for Michigan to tie things up. They do have that pressure going, but again, it just fizzles out. Dirty Eagle able to disrupt that completely. Sends it right over top of one, but Bits the bump onto him. Made sure there was no chance to secure that goal.
Still the ball in Michigan territory. 2:45 left on the clock. Dirty Eagle to keep it in. He's looking for another touch. Won't be able to get by Shawnee Boy. But Bits is next in line. Buddha trying to go off his back wall to clear. Snipes will keep it in. They've been whipping on that ball. It will eventually find its way towards mid. As we see halftime come and go. Buddha was up for a deflection, but Dirty Eagle beats him to it. That's a big whiff from Shawnee, and that finds its way in. What a defensive miscue by Michigan. It's 3-1.
It's been mistakes across the board for this roster on the Michigan side, and unfortunately it's not going to do them a single favor. It works out quite well, though, for Dirty Eagle there. Now every single member of UCF in Game 2 has a goal, and they are looking quite strong on the pitch.
We approach 2 minutes left on the clock. The Knights find themselves up 2 goals in game 2. There's Clavin, sharp angle, tried to sneak that one in the near post, couldn't quite do it. Smart play though from the Wolverines. We'll see if they can set another one up. Shawnee Boy trying to take his time, It's not falling for that, but Shawnee Boy's back up for this and gets the touch. Great goal.
Beautiful.
And they bring it back within 1.
That was a great way to make sure that you just kept up with the pressure you're going through. He weaved around all 3 members on defense and had utter confidence in his teammate to set him up there. They're able to bring it within 1 yet again. Now they need to make sure to tie things up and go from there because they can't stop now. But there was an opportunity for Snipes on offense, and you got to be wary about whenever he has a chance. There was one for Dirty Eagle as well, but eventually they are able to set it aside. But we keep seeing UCF on offense even after these goals happen. But there was a very dangerous opportunity if there was someone cherry picking on the side of Michigan. Could have got a potential goal there.
I'm sure we'll start to see that as just about 75 seconds remain in game 2. They're only down a goal, are Michigan. So potentially we could see some pressure starting to develop, taking some more risks. Try to find that equalizer. Dirty Eagle. Play that hard off the opponent's back wall, and Bits just trying to move it along the side. Clavin wants to keep it going in the blue zone, but it will be cleared away by Snipes. Going to take a full possession, I believe, from Michigan. Really get the ball behind the first and second defenders. Really start to utilize those bounce passes as Clavin tried to get that off the back wall. Now Shawnee Boy stuck in a bit of an awkward spot. Snipes is here. Tries to cut towards mid for Bits, but it does get cleared back down. Final 30 seconds, 1 goal difference, UCF on top.
A demo could have opened up some space, but there is a perfect spot for Dirty Eagle. Unfortunately, he isn't able to stick the landing on that one. Has to leave it up for Bits. There's a setup, but again, the crossbar denies access to that net. Shawnee Boy with a great shot. Now we'll start to see some more pressure, hopefully from Michigan, but as soon as I say that, UCF are able to take control with less than 10 seconds remaining. That might be all she wrote for game 2 of this best of 5.
Oh, Snipes kept that up. Shawnee Boy.
Wait.
Off the crossbar. Man, Snipes almost gave that game away as he decided to play it. Maybe he felt the pressure from Michigan, but goodness gracious, that was a close call right at the end. UCF do take game number 2, however. That puts them up 2-0 over top of a Michigan team that hasn't found themselves in this situation at all so far this season.
And especially having the confidence going into the series, being up by 2 and doing quite well for themselves. And the prowess we know that has been showcased time and time again by Clavin, by Shawnee Boy, by Buddha. You would think they wouldn't make all these uncharacteristic mistakes on defense. Shawnee Boy a few times. The double commits by Shawnee Boy and Clavin even. This just doesn't seem like a Michigan team who knows exactly the path to victory, whereas before they had all the confidence in the world. So maybe they're starting to doubt themselves. They were looking good when they got that second goal, but after that, they weren't able to maintain possession. And that's what this series has been about, possession in the favor of UCF. And if they can keep that up, they're going to get a 3-0 sweep against Michigan.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said they were unable to maintain possession. And we talk about how important possession is in Rocket League, but you could tell they were just struggling to get by that first and second defender on the defense or on the offensive side of the ball. And they were not able to keep it in the zone, keep the play moving, utilize those infield passing plays that worked so well for them in previous matches. So we'll see if they make a change. It is game number 3. They're not out of it yet, but they've got to win the next 3 in a row if they want to stay perfect on the season.
This is a good way to start it off, though, for Buddha, leading into Clavin with a drop down. And there's a perfect chance for Buddha, but Shawnee Boy is going to be there to clean it up instead. He was patiently waiting for all the mistakes we saw on defense from UCF.
Well, it's Michigan to score the first goal in game 3. Bit of a change from the first 2. But yet again, it's another early goal. This time only 11 seconds. We'll see how Michigan plays with the lead. Still a ton of time left in game 3. Dirty Eagle, great fake on Clavin. He's looking for a pass, doesn't quite get enough on it. So cleared out of the zone, although this could be an open shot for Dirty Eagle. Oh, he gets the touch on the ground. Hit the crossbar, but still finds its way in.
Beautiful follow through by Dirty Eagle. He got 6 shots to his name in the last game, and he's looking to follow up with that performance in this game. great touch. Even though it didn't go in the first time, he was there to secure it. Might have been a stroke of luck, but that might be all you need to tie up this game and go towards that 3-0 sweep.
Even if it was a bit of a lucky play from Dirty Eagle, the fact that he had that opportunity, just like Bits here, the fact that they're getting these wide open looks out in front is a huge red flag for the Michigan defense.
And that's what we've seen the entire series so far from this Michigan defense. They've been leaving themselves wide open. We've seen way too much commitment on offense from all three members, and it seems like they lack a direction when it comes to any of these offensive pushes that we're seeing out of this roster. They get the ball and then they hand it straight off to their opponents, and we haven't really even seen solid follow-throughs from them other than that first goal.
Well, as a minute has passed in Game 3, Central Florida Knights find themselves up a goal. Michigan to try to battle back. There's Buddha, quick shot down, and playing with a lead can be so helpful as Claven side, and that's just going to extend. All three of the UCF goals in this game have not been pretty. They have just been wide open shots on them.
And you'd expect a team that has a 2-0 record so far, even though it is just the first week, so we do have to preface that. It is 16 teams in a round-robin format, but even a team such as Michigan, you would believe going into this, they wouldn't be making these kind of mistakes. This is not what we're used to seeing from this roster, and they really need to clean this up or else they're going to get completely swept. There's plenty of time to make up, but there's another double commit right there. Again, they just aren't communicating on offense or even on defense either.
Could be another open look for Bits, but Claven does get up to the ball and plays it down for Shawnee Boy. So the deficit is now 2. Not a whole lot of time left, but certainly enough to score those 2 goals if they can find some offensive pressure. But the name of the game right now for Central Florida, waste as much time as you can, throw it into areas that Michigan, they have trouble playing properly or they can't get solid touches. Snipes gets the dunk on Claven, and it's those plays, those small plays from Central Florida that have really killed Michigan, just winning mid-challenges, mid-battles, finding open space, finding the open goal. As I say it, they do it yet again in Game 3.
All three members being put to work in this series for UCF, while Michigan are still trying to find their rotation that they've been missing since the first game. And again, they're able to get that great read and put it through open net afterwards, and we've seen way too many opportunities like that for UCF. They're going to take advantage of them time and time again and hope that there's more of them, especially with a 3-goal lead and a little under half a game remaining.
Might be a 4-goal lead. It is. Snipes. He gets his second of the game off a good read off the back wall. It is just falling apart for the Wolverines. They cannot sort out their defense.
And maybe going into their future matches, because I feel like at this point, with the 4-game deficit and the way they're playing, it's not over completely yet, but we got to be realistic sometimes. With the mistakes we're seeing from both Claven and Shawnee Boy, haven't seen as many from Buddha, but he's been trying his hardest to get in position where he's been left on a 1-on-3 situation. We almost saw one there as well. They just have to figure out what their strategy is when they face these kind of teams who are able to just have a solid rotation. And we keep speaking of that so many times because we haven't really seen that much at all from this Michigan team. And make sure that they don't make these uncharacteristic mistakes. It's just unfathomable that going into this matchup, you would think, statistically at least, Michigan had a simple win against UCF, but they're proving that it comes to consistency when you're playing against 15 other teams in this kind of a league.
Yeah, consistency. I think that's kind of the name of the game for the collegiate scene, regardless, is which team can play consistent. And we've seen some teams able to do that. Of course, Arizona is a team that comes to mind, as well as Akron and teams like that. Honestly, coming into this game, I thought Michigan was another team you could add to that column of teams that play consistently, but maybe this is just an anomaly for them. Maybe it'll be a bit of a wake-up call. Or, again, this could be UCF really starting to change things around as Snipes gets his hat trick in the game. And this is just a great play from Snipes by both defenders. It's just goal after goal the exact same way from the Knights. It seems like they've solved Michigan.
They have solved Michigan. The puzzle was easier than a Rubik's Cube. And for Michigan specifically, the puzzle they're trying to solve against the UCF defense seems like they're doing it blindfolded and have had no practice. There was a good shot there, but again, these solid opportunities are just being thrown by the wayside when you see the double commits and the positioning of these players. Again, another open net, 7-1 Brazil at this point. It's just madness to see this kind of defensive mess, basically.
I'm not really sure what Clavin was doing on that play. He decided he wanted to leave the net open, perhaps for the Brazil. But either way, that is certainly going to do it for this series. And again, UCF, they find their first victory of the season, Vaudeville.
True.
Congratulations to them. Hopefully that propels them to do even better in the coming days and weeks. But for Michigan, this is their first loss. This is the first time they've lost more than a game in a series.
Exactly. That's the crazy thing to think about, too, is the first time they have lost more than a game in the series. And the two teams that they did face off against, for those who might not have had a chance to check out the mainstream, that was on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They faced off against RIT. They also faced off against Rutgers University. And those matches, they were pretty, well, not really one-sided. The one against RU was actually like one-goal games almost, except for the first one. And then the ones against RIT, those were also pretty close. So maybe it's just that they did have the 2 wins, but they don't have that consistency to get a confident win against these teams. And they're going to struggle with that going into their next match, will actually be tomorrow.
Well, we'll have to see how Michigan responds tomorrow, as you said. And I'm trying to remember exactly who it is they're going to be playing. I believe it's Nova tomorrow.
Yep, Nova.
So we'll see how they do in that series. And that's another team that can do what UCF did. They can play quickly. They can win those mid challenges. And Michigan's going to have to show that they can, find the strategy to play against that. But all in all, just a dominant performance from the Knights in this series. It never felt like it was anybody's game other than UCF. And, I'm looking forward to seeing how they play in the coming weeks.
Oh, yeah, that just makes so much confidence be boosted by this UCF team. They might have been lacking that a little bit going into this, especially during the off-stream match where they got 3-0. Now they get a 3-0 of their own, especially against a team that has been 2-0 and in such a dominant fashion where we saw Snipes. He was able to get goal after goal, opportunity after opportunity. All 3 players just worked in perfect unison to get that victory. So great work by them. Need to see a little bit more out of University of Michigan, especially after all those mistakes and wide open nets. But we are going to take a break before we get to our next matchup. It is going to be RIT versus Nova. So that's a good one you don't want to miss. We'll be right back here with some more CRL B-Stream action in just a bit.